Hello everyone, this is Shivam, and today we will be discussing about the course which we have launched on Geeks for Geeks for the aspiring SJET engineers. So before that, let me tell you a brief about myself. So my name is Shivam Somani and I am working as a lead SJET in Salesforce. I have worked with multiple other product-based companies and startups as well. I have around 10 years of experience and majorly worked into front-end automation, back-end automation, mobile apps automation, also worked on the feature testing side, system testing, and also on the performance testing, database testing, API testing. All those I have done over the tenure of my career, and I will be teaching you this course. So basically, let's go through the overview of this course. So we'll be having the comprehensive coverage of SJET technologies, which include Selenium, Core Java, Jenkins, CI/CD pipelines. So all of them will be taught, and also we'll be including Maven, TestNG. So everything will be taught here. You will be having 45 hours plus of live classes, and also you will be given assessments and we'll be tracking your progress. Plus you will get for every class you will get notes, and then you will be also getting MCQs so that you may know like whatever you have studied up till now, are you able to remember or not. So all those things you will be doing. And also we will be teaching you about APM as well, Jenkins, Cucumber, Core Java. So you'll be getting practical hands-on learning experience with it. It's not just you will just go through some videos and learn it. We'll be teaching it like that so that there are practical like real-time examples in that. You'll be getting career guidance, and then we'll be helping you to lead your career as an SJET engineer after that. So basically this is a 10 weeks course which we will be running on Saturdays and Sundays. And let's go into the course for more details. So as you see, on week 1 we'll be learning about Java, variables, data types, conditional statements, arrays, 1D, 2D and loops. So you will be coming to know all about that in Java. So that because Java is important, right, like for Selenium and all, you will be needing Java to create programs, write test cases, automate the test cases, and it's important to know Java. So you will be learning that. And then we'll be going into advanced Java concepts like functions, objects, constructors, the different OOPS concepts which we have, how do we do exception handling. And also we'll then cover a little bit about Selenium and its components. Then comes the week 2. So on week 2 we will be going off the Selenium page elements and locators, which I will be discussing a little bit in this video itself. And we'll be also introducing you to the TestNG framework. So what is TestNG, what are the different annotations, which annotation to use when, and what are the differences between the different annotations. So we will be all covering that. Then we'll be covering in the session 4 we'll be looking into utilizing TestNG and weights in Selenium. So we'll be running Selenium tests, live Selenium tests with you. We'll be creating and then running on the live browsers. And then what are the benefits, what are the advantages, we'll be talking about what are some of the disadvantages we'll be looking into. And then we'll be looking into various types of weights like implicit, explicit, all those types of weights we will be discussing, and when can we use what type of weights. So based on situation we have to basically see like what weights we can use. So all that we will be discussing. And then we'll be going into week 3 where you'll be learning about the advanced Selenium. So you'll be learning about all the WebDriver commands, as you can see. So there are different alerts, pop-up handles, iframes, you'll be learning those. And then you'll be debugging the common WebDriver test failures, right? So there are exceptions which occurs, like common exceptions which occurs. We'll go through them and we can see like how do we handle those. So all that will be done. And then we'll be handling iframes, tabs, windows, there like how to switch to multiple tabs, how to switch to like how to right click, how to left click, all those, how to switch to multiple windows and then switch back to the previous window. All those we will be discussing. And then also we'll be touching base on the Maven and Selenium dependency installation. So we'll be touch basing into the Maven POM file, and then also the how can we install basically the other Selenium dependencies via Maven. So all those we will be looking into. Then we'll be covering in week 4 we'll be covering about the page object model. So as you might know, like page object model is quite common and then it's very useful as well. So we'll be designing the POM framework from scratch with you, and then we'll be creating the first Selenium test with the POM page object model pattern, right? So you'll be getting live knowledge of all that. So you'll be getting to learn a lot, and then after this course you will be like easily able to automate any website, or you will be able to deal with any website. You will be able to automate it. You will be knowing what are the different components which can be used to automate it. So all that you will be knowing. And then we can go with on the week 4, as I said, we'll going to the page object model, and then on week 5 we'll be handling the Selenium exceptions, and we'll be talking about different reports which we can generate, right? Because reports are needed, right? Report will be needed for the managers, for you, to know what all test cases passed, what all test cases failed, if there what is the issue. So we'll be learning into how we can attach screenshots and all in the reports. So we'll be creating all of them. And then comes the week 5. So we will be learning about the parallel and multi-browser execution. So how do you basically execute Selenium tests parallelly? How do you do multi-browser execution? Like some tests are running on Firefox, some tests are running on Chrome, or like all the tests will be running on different browsers as well. So all this is like basically needed in any company which you will go. They'll not run all of the tests only on Chrome itself, right? So all the browsers will be needed. So you will be learning all that. And then we'll go to the Selenium week 10, which session 10, sorry, where you'll be learning about the page factory design pattern and the implementation of Excel sheet as a test data source. So basically we'll be creating test data via Excel sheet. So all that we'll be learning. And then comes week 6, where we'll be learning about the Cucumber and the behavior driven framework, as you can see. So we'll learn more about Cucumber, we'll learn about Gherkin, we'll learn about feature files, step definition, Cucumber reports. So we will do all that. Then comes the week 7, where we'll be integrating Cucumber with Selenium. So now we have to integrate Cucumber with Selenium, right? Because Cucumber alone cannot do much. You have to integrate it with Selenium, and then we will be using it in conjunction with Selenium and basically creating a POM framework with Cucumber, and then writing feature files, step definitions, all those we'll be doing for the Selenium tests. And then on the session 14, which we'll be conducting, we'll be looking into the Git, Jenkins, and using, basically we'll be learning more about continuous integration, right? So we'll basically learning about different Git commands, because you will be needing it to pull code, push code, use the Git status, all those commands we'll be doing. And then setting up Jenkins for CI. So we'll be setting up Jenkins server on a machine, and then we'll be setting it up for the CI, so that our code will automatically trigger once we see, based on certain conditions, we can see how we can trigger our code. So all those you will learn in this course over itself. And then comes the week 8. So as you can see, up till now we have covered a lot, right? These are all the real-time applications which you will be needed to become a good SDET engineer. So all this is needed, I would say. And then we can do Jenkins job configuration. So we'll be checking what are the different configurations we can do in the Jenkins jobs, and then we can run Selenium tests in an automated way. So no need to just go and right click and run test. We'll be running Selenium tests with Jenkins itself automatically. So we'll be doing all those things, and you'll be learning a lot for Jenkins, CI, CD pipelines, Git commands, all those you will be learning. So, and it is very important for interviews as well. If you see, like most people, if you have just learned the theory, they might know different, let's say, wait commands, how to handle alerts, how to do basically pop-ups. So they will know all that. But if you come to the real-time knowledge, right, if an interviewer will ask you what is the command which you will use to basically push your code to the master branch, so how do you do that? You like mostly if people have not done it, then they will not be able to answer it. And this knowledge is needed, because you don't keep your code in the local itself, right? You don't run your test, you come up every morning and then show up and then start running your test on the local. No one does that now. So all these things are necessary, I would say, and this is a must for an SDET engineer. So basically after this course you will be learning a lot, and then you will be becoming a very good SDET engineer, I can say. So we'll also be going to the cloud testing with Selenium, right? So we'll be running Selenium test on cloud environment. Like many people use Source Labs as well for running the test cases. So we'll be looking into that. How can we set up that Source Labs? How can we run our test cases parallelly on the Source Labs? So all that we will be doing. And then basically on week 9 we'll be looking into app automation of an overview of mobile app testing. So we'll be looking into now this app automation, right? So mobile apps automation. So we'll be discussing about the significance, benefits. We'll be looking into some of the differences which we have, like what is the difference between web and mobile apps testing, and then we'll be touching into different tools which are available in the market for automating the mobile apps, like APM, Espresso, SUI test. So all that will be needed. And then we'll be setting up environment, as we set up environment for the Selenium and all. So we'll be setting up environment for mobile testing now. And then we'll be setting up emulator. So basically we'll not use real device, because most of the tests are run on the emulator. So we'll be using like I'll be setting up emulators for you guys, and then you can see how we do that. And then for iOS also we'll do that, and then we can just write basic APM command so that our test will run on those. So this will be week 9 end, and then in the week 10 we'll be discussing more about the mobile apps automation. So this UI automator viewer will be discussing, and APM desktop will be discussing, to basically figure out how do we find elements, how do we interact with those, how do we click, how do we enter text. So we'll be basically creating sample test cases for how to interact with different UI elements for the mobile. And then on session 20 we'll be writing the test cases for APM using Java, and then we'll be running and validating the test. So all in all, I would say, like, as you can see, so we have covered Selenium, Java, TestNG, Cucumber. So like complete Selenium is done. Then we went into CI/CD pipelines, Git, Jenkins, all those things that is needed, and then we went into mobile apps automation. So after 10 weeks you will be very well versed, I would say, with the different concepts, different terminologies, different app site automation, mobile apps automation plus website automation. So you'll be like, I would say, you can then easily integrate your test cases with other websites too. So you can directly create test cases, think about it, create test cases on mobile apps, on website. So that will be very helpful. So this is all about the course, I would say. It's very I think it is very good. It covers a lot of syllabus, plus it will be a challenging course for anyone who's an aspiring SJET engineer. It will be challenging, and then you will learn a lot. Like, you will be I would say emerging out as a very good SJET engineer, right? So let's talk about some of this part, just for example's sake. Like, how do we what are page elements, basically how do we identify them, and how do we use different locators in Selenium, right? So let's start from the very basic for now, and let's go to this website, which is just used for demoing purposes. So as you can see, this is source labs, like sourcedemo.com. So as you can see, like, there is a username, password button, and login. So first of all, what is automation? Let's talk about it a little bit, right? So let's say you are given a website, and then you are asked to test it. So what you will do, you are given this login page. So you will be putting out various combination, I would say, for username, password, and see if you are able to log in or not, right? So this is a dummy website. Basically, they have given some accepted usernames and passwords. So I will just enter one of them, and we'll be able to log in. So it's kind of a shopping site itself. So if I log in, you will be able to find different backpacks and source labs, bike light, all those things. So it is kind of a dummy website which we will be using for automation. So let's talk about the testing part, right? So as you see, like, you have already logged in now. So how do you test it? You just, let's say, you see, you add to cart, you go to the cart, and then see if you are able to check out or not. So now how do we automate it, right? So one thing is, like, how to manual test it. Now what you have to do is, you don't have to come again every day and manually test it, right? Because let's say there are 100 test cases. Now it will be very cumbersome for an individual to every day run test cases, and this is a shopping website. It might go down, so you have to test every day. So what you will do is, you will come up with the approach for automation. Now what is automation, right? So automation is whatever you are performing manually right now, right? So you are just adding it, clicking on it, adding it, removing it, all those things, you will be performing it via code. So let's start. So how do you start basically now? Because let's say you don't have an idea, you can do it, but you don't have an idea. So what we can do is, we have to go to, let me just open the website again. Now what you will do is, you will be basically going to this sourcedemo.com via code, and then entering the username, the accepted one, and then entering the password, and then clicking on login. So this is a sample test case, a very basic test case. Now how do you basically write here, right? So that is the problem, that is the challenge now. So this is something how we can do in this is a Chrome browser. So how we do it here is, basically we right click on the page and click on inspect. So once we click inspect, the Chrome developer tools open. Now we click on this icon and then go to here, right? So you can see now if I'm going here, it is highlighting there, right? Like see, now it is highlighting there. That means I am at the username. I am at the username text box now. Then if I go down, I am at the password. Then if I go down, I am at the login. So now how do you identify the elements? You can see there are, this is the HTML, basically HTML code which is there. So a website is comprised of, the front end part is comprised of HTML, CSS and JavaScript. For finding the elements, we will be looking into the HTML only. So you can see there are, this is the different attributes for this username text box, right? So there is a placeholder, there is a name, there is an ID, there is a data test. So all these are there and we can use any of them. So let's see how we can figure out different locators which are available in Selenium. So if you see, I have opened the website, basically the Selenium website. So these are the different locator strategies which are present in Selenium. This is the official document, and if you see, these are the locators and this is the description. So if you see, we have different locators in Selenium, right? Class name, CSS selector, ID, name, link test, partial link text, tag name and XPath. The most common ones I would say are usually ID and XPath. Some of them still are using CSS selector and other things as well, but mostly you will, if ID is there, I think that is usually, like ID is there, right? ID will mostly be unique in most of the websites. So if ID is there, it's very good. Otherwise, you can create XPath, or you can select by class name, CSS selector, link text, name. All those are there, right? So let's first see what is the scenario we are trying to automate. Okay, so what we will do is we will be entering the username, entering the password, clicking on login. Once we have logged in, what will happen is we'll be going to this page. So we'll be clicking on Sauce Labs backpack, and then we'll be clicking on add to cart. So this is the complete scenario. So now let's figure out how many elements we will need. Okay, so this is one element, this is the second, this is the third, and then we'll be clicking on Sauce Labs backpack, which is fourth element, and then add to cart, which is the fifth element. So we'll be needing 5 elements. So I've already created the code for that, and we'll be discussing what I have written here and how I have found the basically different locators, right? So I've already figured out username, password, login button, Sauce Labs backpack and add to cart. So let's see how we can find by ID, right? Username, let's see how we can find by ID. So what we have to do is we have to right click on inspect, and then go here, click here, and then we see ID is username, right? So we have written ID equal to username. So driver.find element by ID username, and then let's see how we can figure out password. So password we are figuring out by name. So let's go to the password, we click here and go to the password, and then we see what is the name is password. Okay, so what we have written is by.name is password, and what we are doing is password.send keys. We are just sending the keys on it, which is secret sauce. So we are writing the text on that element. And then what is the login button web element, right? So let's find out by class name. So let's click here, again click on login, and then you can see there are 2 class names basically. One is submit button, and then there is a space, and then btn action. So we can use any of the class name. So let's see if we can do that, and then I have written btn underscore action. So class name is btn underscore action, and I have clicked on it. So basically this step, what it will do is it will enter the username, enter the password, and click on the login button. And now once we are logged in, right, so this page will show up. Now what we have to do is we have to click here. Okay, so we do right click, inspect this, and Sauce Labs backpack. Okay, so now let's try to figure it out by XPath. Okay, so if you can see, I have written XPath for it, and how I have written is I am finding it by text. So what is the text here? Text is Sauce Labs backpack, right? So let's see if it works, if it is able to find out the element, right? So what we have to do for XPath is click here, click on Control F, and then write that XPath. So if you can see, it is able to find one matching node, and then it is highlighting here, which means it will be finding this element. and now what we have to do here is we have to click it so that we go to the next page. So what I have done is sauce labs backpack dot click. Okay, and now add to cart we'll find out by CSS selector. So how can we find by CSS selector now? So this is basically the relative CSS selector. So if you see, add to cart sauce labs backpack, and I have put a hash before that. So hash sign is used for relative CSS selector. So we'll be learning all of this in detail in the lectures in the class, but for demo purposes I've just shown like we can, what are the different ways we can find out the CSS selector, XPath, ID, basically different locators how we can figure out. So if you can see, ID is add to cart sauce labs backpack, and if we add hash here, so it will become the CSS selector to find it, and then we have clicked it. And then I'm using sleep so that you can just see, because otherwise the script will run very fast, although we don't use sleep in the in the script, but just for demo purpose I have just shown it to you. Okay, so now let's see if it runs. Okay, so what I have to do is right click and click on run dummy test. So it has opened the browser, it has gone to Sauce Labs demo. You can see, right, Chrome is being controlled by automated test software, right? It had entered username, password, clicked on login, now Sauce Lab backpack and add to cart. You can see, right? So you can see the test has passed, right? Test runs 1, pass is equal to 1. So this is basically the different ways in which we can figure out the elements. This is just one of the lectures which we'll be having, and then we'll go into depth for at least these XPath and CSS selector majorly, and then ID, name and class name also we'll see how we can figure out. And then I'll be telling you tips and tricks as well, like there are different tools which we can use, right? So there is selectors hub which we can use, and then I am using this XPath generator as well, so XPath helper, so this is also there. So this will basically help you in finding the XPath, so this will help a lot. And then selectors hub is also there, but we will not completely depend on those tools, but I'll tell you how basically we can create a sample XPath and then figure out way after that. And also we'll be looking into what is contains, how we can use contains, how we can use following sibling, preceding sibling, all those things. So that is all about it for now, and I hope you learned something. And then let's meet you in class, and thank you for watching the lecture.